When news of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s murder crackled across a studio radio, a 73-year-old actor, beloved as TV's Grandpa Amos, reportedly busted a jig of sheer delight. That same star, Walter Brennan, kept a small notebook scrawled with the heading, "The Most Evil." Inside sat a gallery of Hollywood royalty he swore were poisoning America. Tonight, we flip that notebook open and meet the villains through Brennan's furious eyes. Stay tuned, because every new name is more shocking than the last. And wait till you see who tops the list. It isn't who you think. After 3 Oscars and 230 roles, Brennan drifted right. Hard right. He joined the John Birch Society, ranted about godless Reds, and dug bunkers on his ranches. In a world where civil rights marches looked like insurrection and rock and roll sounded like moral decay, he needed an enemy's ledger to keep score. First in his sights, a man America once begged to run for president. Henry Fonda, New Deal Knight. Elegant, Iowa-born Henry Fonda marched for civil rights, endorsed Roosevelt, and embodied the everyman hero. That liberal halo made Brennan seethe. To him, Fonda's speeches weren't patriotic, they were subversion in a sensible suit. Off-screen, the two even clashed over politics before agreeing never to discuss it again, because fists nearly flew. But if Dad riled Brennan, his daughter would send him into orbit. When Jane Fonda perched on a North Vietnamese anti-aircraft gun in 1972, Brennan's worst nightmare breathed fire. Her radio broadcasts urged U.S. pilots to spare civilians. Back home, conservatives screamed treason. Brennan labeled her the list's black ink queen, proof, he said, that Hollywood now cheered against America. Even decades later, Jane admits the trip was a huge mistake. Yet the photo lives forever in Brennan's bunker scrapbook. Next up, the star who shattered McCarthy's blacklist and Brennan's temper. Kirk Douglas, blacklist breaker. When Kirk Douglas boldly credited band writer Dalton Trumbo on Spartacus, studio execs panicked, but Douglas stood firm. To Brennan, that wasn't courage, it was collusion with suspected Reds. Worse, Douglas's on-set swagger and rumored affairs clashed with Brennan's Puritan ideal. In interviews, Douglas called Trumbo's hire "my proudest act." Brennan called it handing the enemy a megaphone. Courage offended him, indulgence revolted him, and no one indulged like our next rogue individual. Errol Flynn, the hedonist in tights. Swashbuckler Errol Flynn wooed audiences with swordplay and a devilish grin, then crashed headlines with a 1943 trial over accusations by 2 17-year-olds. He was acquitted, but tales of orgies, booze, and brawls never died. Brennan, a devout Catholic, saw Flynn as the poster child for Hollywood's unholy appetites. Proof you could swing a cutlass on screen and still slice at society's throat off it. But sometimes rot hid behind a crooner's cardigan. Bing Crosby, White Christmas, Black Clouds. America heard Bing Crosby croon peaceful carols. His eldest son, Gary, heard belts and vicious nicknames. Gary's 1983 memoir, Going My Own Way, painted Dad as a disciplinarian who called him satchel ass and swung without warning. Brennan cherished the myth of strong yet loving patriarchs. Crosby's alleged double life disgusted him. On the ledger, Bing's name earned a crimson underline. Two-faced. Next, a Hollywood ingenue whose tragic end Brennan chalked up to karma. Natalie Wood, Mystery off Catalina. Brilliant and beloved, Natalie Wood spent her last night adrift near Catalina Island. Officially, accidental drowning, unofficially, a swirl of rumors, involving jealousy, alcohol, and a shattered marriage. Brennan watched tabloid front pages and muttered that Hollywood devours its own. For him, Wood's fate was no coincidence. It was warning flare number 100. But moral rot, he believed, sometimes stood tall and heroic. Burt Lancaster, liberal lion with a roar. Oscar winner Burt Lancaster marched in Selma, rallied against Vietnam, and ended up on Nixon's official enemies list. Brennan viewed Lancaster's activism as grandstanding that emboldened radicals. Lancaster once said, "Actors can't be neutral in times of moral crisis." Brennan's reply? Stick to acting, or admit you're the enemy. Then came Lancaster's ideological heir, one who roared down the highway on a Harley. Peter Fonda, counterculture cowboy. Easy Rider made Peter Fonda a generation's outlaw saint. Motorcycles, marijuana, free love. Brennan, who prized discipline and sobriety, saw the film's box office triumph as proof America had veered off a cliff. He scribbled beside Peter's name, "Drug idol corrupts youth." But the most baffling entry was neither rebel nor radical. James Stewart, the stunning inclusion. Folksy war hero James Stewart was an actual conservative Republican. Yet Brennan's paranoia ran so deep that even Stewart's friendships with liberals like Henry Fonda tainted him. Some biographers speculate professional jealousy. Stewart nabbed lead roles Brennan craved. Whatever the motive, the ledger lists Stewart with a single cryptic note: too close to them. And finally, the glittering queen who turned diamonds into daggers. Elizabeth Taylor, diamonds in defiance, 8 marriages, lavish diamonds, and, most unforgivable to Brennan, her crusade for AIDS research and LGBTQ+ rights. Elizabeth Taylor co-founded AMFAR in 1985 and later created the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, funneling millions toward a crisis many conservatives dismissed. Brennan, who claimed America had bigger problems than sick perverts, according to one crew member, marked her as proof that Hollywood celebrates sin. Notebook full, Brennan spent his final years polishing bunkers and grudges. The fallout co-workers whispered but stayed silent. Fans kept laughing at Grandpa Amos. Only after Brennan's 1974 death did gossip pages stitch together the bunker blueprints, the jig, and the ledger. Film historians now argue that Brennan's hatred mirrored the era's deeper cultural civil war, Hollywood versus Heartland, which leads to the question we can't escape. Art can sparkle, even when its maker harbors darkness. Walter Brennan won 3 Oscars by acting 50 years older than he was. Yet his worldview aged into bitterness faster than any character. When we binge the golden oldies, do we sing along with the charm or listen for the off-key notes underneath? If Brennan handed you the most evil list today, would you condemn his targets or question the judge who wrote it?